Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So pretty much want to start off by saying big apologies for my absence on YouTube. I've had a big move that I've had to sort of deal with as I've been sort of moving where I'm staying now, and yeah, it's just taken up quite a lot of time, but hopefully I'm at the start of being settled now. And yeah, just gonna pretty much in this video address all of the Blu-ray and 4K pickups I've got in the month of February. So you'll notice a bit of a theme to this video. I'm pretty much going through a bit of a phase or an updated collection of trying to update movies I've got on DVD to Blu-ray or 4K. So yeah, that's all I'm trying to do at the minute, is just trying to update the quality of which I enjoy these movies at. There are a few new movies in here as well, but the majority of movies here are movies I'm just trying to update really, and there's quite a lot of movies to get through, so I do apologise if this is going to be a long video, but yeah, that being said, it's probably just best if I get straight into it and just pretty much go through all the pickups of this month. So yeah, I'm going to start it off with a couple of box sets we've got on Blu-ray. So the first one I picked up was the Vacation box set. I absolutely love the first movie and the third movie in this series. This comes with Vacation, European Vacation, Christmas Vacation and Vegas Vacation. Vegas to me is probably the weakest one. The third movie is probably the strongest in my opinion. It's a great Christmas movie that I watch every year, maybe a couple of times at Christmas time I watch that movie. I just think it's great. The second one's okay, and the first one I just absolutely love, but I was really happy to upgrade these to Blu-ray, as I've had them on DVD for quite some time and I don't think the quality of those DVDs really holds up. So yeah, really happy to get the Vacation series on Blu-ray finally. Great couple of movies in my opinion, absolutely love them. So the next box set I got was the Nightmare on Elm Street box set on Blu-ray. Yeah, a fantastic series that I get a lot of enjoyment out of. I particularly really enjoy the first three movies. I know the second movie gets a lot of shit, but I do get some enjoyment out of that movie. I do think it is quite creepy and quite scary for what it is. Not the best in terms of quality. I think probably my favourite one is probably the third one, but I do think the first one's probably the best movie. It's got some really creepy stuff in it, but that third one is a lot of fun. I just absolutely love it, and on the series as a whole, it's one of my favourite horror franchises. I just really enjoy it, so yeah, glad to get it on Blu-ray finally. So coming up next, we have a Stallone collection Blu-ray set, which I got quite cheaply on Amazon. I think it was $10.99 brand new. So this contains Cobra, Assassins, Tango and Cash, Specialist and Demolition Man. I really only got this because of Tango and Cash and Demolition Man. I absolutely love and adore those movies. Assassins I wasn't really too keen on. Cobra I haven't seen in a long time, and I don't really remember the Specialist being particularly good in my opinion, but I'll give those movies a rewatch. But yeah, Tango and Cash and Demolition Man I absolutely love, and yeah, just really happy to get these on Blu-ray finally. So coming up next, going into like the sort of the individual movies now. Picked up Mrs. Doubtfire on Blu-ray. I had this on VHS for the longest time, and I absolutely adore this movie. It's one of my favourite Robin Williams movies. Bit of a premise that doesn't really hold up nowadays, shall we say, but I just enjoy the film so much. I just think it's absolutely fantastic, and I just have a great time with it. So yeah, that is Mrs. Doubtfire. Coming up next, we have probably one of my favourite sort of sci-fi movies. That I've not seen too many times, but I really do enjoy this film, and that is Galaxy Quest. I think this movie has an absolutely fantastic cast in it. Probably the best Star Trek movie that has nothing to do with Star Trek. It's just phenomenal and a lot of fun. I really dig this movie, and I just have a blast with it. So yeah, that is Galaxy Quest. Next up, we have pretty much another sort of sci-fi movie directed by Tim Burton, which is a movie I grew up with, which I really enjoyed, and that is Mars Attacks. Yeah, I have a great time with this movie. I think the cast is stellar, and it's just a lot of fun. The movie takes a sort of strange direction probably about halfway through for me, but overall, like I said, it's a lot of fun and I really enjoy it. So yeah, that is Mars Attacks. Coming up next, we have a Tom Cruise movie that I wasn't really a big fan of the first time I saw it. I did have this initially on Blu-ray, and I ended up selling that Blu-ray because I wasn't a big fan of the film, and I downgraded it to DVD. And then I rewatched it, and I was like, you know what? I actually really like that movie. I want to get the Blu-ray again. I think it's probably my favourite Tom Cruise performance that he's ever given in a movie, and that is Born on the 4th of July. Absolutely superb Oliver Stone movie that I just think is really good, really great, really powerful and yet uncomfortable to watch at times, but on the whole I really enjoyed this movie, and just I think it's Tom Cruise the best he's ever been, in my opinion. Absolutely superb. So next we got a movie that I grew up with, saw this initially on TV and didn't really know what this movie was called. But yeah, over the years I've gone back to it, found out what it was called, and I think it's great, and that is The Princess Bride. Absolutely superb film, one of Rob Reiner's best in my opinion, up there with Misery and Stand By Me. I just think this is a great film, just absolutely superb, takes a great spin on the genre as well, and yeah, just is really enjoyable. So yeah, that is The Princess Bride. Next up, we have probably one of my favourite Robert De Niro movies. It's a movie he directed as well, and that is A Bronx Tale. Yeah, I love everything about this movie. This is sort of like a Scorsese movie that Scorsese didn't direct. It has all the idioms you'd expect to see, but it's very much a Robert De Niro driven movie. I just think it's great. It's a great movie, sort of about this one guy who's a bus driver, and he's working class, and he thinks, you know, to get ahead in life you need to, you know, do things the honest way, which he tries to teach his son, but his son also gets involved with this gangster, and his gangster, you know, teaches him to get ahead, you know, the unhonest way, shall we say, and the two of them just butt heads. But yeah, I just think it's a fantastic movie, one that goes under the radar a little bit in my opinion, but yeah, I have an absolute blast with it. I just think it's superb. It sort of turns into a little bit of Romeo and Juliet towards at the end as well, but yeah, I think it's fantastic. So yeah, that is A Bronx Tale. So coming up next, we have possibly one of my favourite John Cusack movies from the early 2000s, and that is High Fidelity. Now, if you're into music in any way, or you like movies with great soundtracks, this is a movie I recommend checking out. It is so much fun. It's absolutely superb. The cast in it is really good, and yeah, it's just a movie that sort of blew me out the water a little bit. One of my favourite movies that I watched that I went into completely blind. I had no idea what it was about, and I was just really surprised about it, and I don't really want to talk about it too much, because if you don't know anything about this movie, I recommend going into it knowing as little as possible, because that's how I experienced it, and I had an absolutely fantastic time with it. So yeah, that is High Fidelity. So coming up next, we have a steelbook that I got, another movie directed by Tim Burton with Johnny Depp, and that is Sweeney Todd. I had this on DVD for the longest time as well. I'm looking forward to checking out what the Blu-ray looks like. Steelbook is in pretty good nick as well, after getting this second hand off eBay. And yeah, I really like this movie. I think it's probably one of Tim Burton's most violent movies that he's made, and yeah, it is really enjoyable. Great musical too. I think Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter have great chemistry in this movie as well. and I just really enjoy it. I just think it's one of Tim Burton and Johnny Depp's one of the better movies they've worked on together. And yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, that is Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. So coming up next, we have one of my favourite Eddie Murphy movies, and that is Coming to America. I think this movie's absolutely hilarious. I really have a good time with it. The sequel that came out, I think last year or the year before, was absolutely dire. I didn't really enjoy that movie at all. I just stick to the original. It's a much better time and it's a lot more fun, and a great comedy. Yeah, it just really is a good time coming to America, and I just really enjoy it. So yeah, that is Coming to America. Following that up, we have one of my favourite Jim Carrey movies. Now, this is a movie that almost sort of ended his career in the 90s, and that is The Cable Guy. I adore this movie. It's a 10 out of 10 movie for me. It just sort of ticked every box I was looking for when watching a Jim Carrey movie. I just absolutely adored it. But I do understand that this movie turned a lot of people off. I do sort of get that, because it was a bit of a shift in tone compared to what sort of material Jim Carrey was churning out at the time. But yeah, I having said that, I really do enjoy it. It's just a fantastic, funny movie. You know, I got out of it what I hoped I wanted to get out of it. It made me laugh. I found it creepy at times. You know, it really was an enjoyable experience. And it's such a shame a lot of other people didn't really get it. But for me, it's one of my favourite movies, and I just absolutely adore it. So yeah, that is The Cable Guy. Coming up next, we have one of my favourite Christian Bale movies. I also have another movie with him in that I picked up as well. But the first one I got with him in was American Psycho. Yeah, this movie is weird to say the least, but a lot of fun. And I just really enjoyed it. I love his performance as Patrick Bateman, how he's this sort of unhinged stockbroker, and you know how he works with all these other stockbrokers and ends up going down this really dark path with like prostitutes and murder. And is it all really going on in real life, or is it all really going on in his head? And it was just a fun film and a really enjoyable experience. It was just a bit of a movie that delivered on having a breath of fresh air experience to it. I just really had a good time with this movie. And so yeah, that is American Psycho. So coming up next is an Arrow movie I picked up. Now, I haven't actually seen this, and that is Madhouse. But the cover for this movie really drew me in. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I can't really say much about it, obviously, because I haven't seen it. But it's one I've wanted to pick up for a while. Saw it in CEX for a pretty reasonable price, and I finally decided to pull the trigger on it. So yeah, that is Madhouse. Coming up next, we have a Christmas movie that I picked up from HMV because it was reasonably priced, and I wanted to update this one for quite a while, and that is Love Actually. Yeah, I have a really good time with this. I'm probably not going to watch this until December, but I think it's got a phenomenal cast. I think each member of the cast gets their own equal amount of screen time, and you just really dig the characters in this movie. And yeah, I have an absolute blast with it, and it's just a staple for me come December time. So yeah, that is Love Actually. Next up, I picked up a classic by the Coen Brothers. Movie I didn't really like the first time I saw it, but it really has grown on me, and that is Fargo. Frances McDormand's absolutely superb in this movie. So is William H. Macy and Steve Buscemi. Just so intriguing, and just what these characters do is just really is a good time. And like I said, it's a movie I didn't like at first time. I don't think I got it. I don't think I was in the right headspace when I saw it, but it has grown on me. and I'm looking forward to checking it out on Blu-ray as well. So yeah, it's one of the Coen's best in my opinion. So yeah, that is Fargo. Next up we have another movie I haven't seen, and it's a comic book movie as well, and that is The Punisher with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. No idea what this movie's like. I can't even really piece together from memory what the general consensus is that people have for this movie. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to checking it out and seeing what it's like. Saw it in CEX for quite cheap, so I thought I'd pick it up and give it a go. So yeah, that is The Punisher. So coming up next, we have one of my favourite Jack Nicholson movies, and I just love the cast in this movie as well. Cher, Michelle Pfeiffer, Susan Sarandon, and that is The Witches of Eastwick. I absolutely love this cover. I think it's so much better than the standard DVD one. Great George Miller movie. I absolutely love the ending to this film. I just think it's absolutely great and so entertaining. And the chemistry between the cast is absolutely superb. I love the tennis court sequence in this movie as well. I just think it's great. I love how in this movie Jack Nicholson, well, for me, has one of the best introductions to a movie ever, where he comes to this town and no one can really remember his name, after just meeting him. And it's one of the best deliveries of when you actually do find out his name as well. It's absolutely great. It's so much fun, and I just adore it. So yeah, that is The Witches of Eastwick. So coming up next, got 3 movies here, directed by Joel Schumacher. So yeah, the first one I picked up was Flatliners. Got this from CEX for a reasonable price as well. I haven't seen the remake. I've heard it's absolutely terrible. But the first movie I quite like. I quite like this movie. Again, great cast to it. But yeah, it's okay. I like this movie. I don't love it. It's fine sort of about these students who are like sort of pushing and taking death to its limits, shall we say. But yeah, I think it's fun for what it is. Yeah, not perfect, but still enjoyable. Next one I got was one of my favourite courtroom dramas ever. Absolutely superb film by Joel Schumacher. I believe he made this movie in between Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, and that is A Time to Kill. Another movie with a fantastic cast, a great story, and yeah, just a really, really good overall movie that I just absolutely enjoyed. So yeah, that is A Time to Kill. And the third movie I got from Joel Schumacher, which I updated to Blu-ray, was of course The Lost Boys. Absolutely fantastic vampire movie from the 80s, an absolute classic and an absolute staple in my opinion. And yeah, I just enjoy the hell out of this movie. Great soundtrack, great cast, great story. I just enjoyed it so much, and I just thought it was the right time to get it on Blu-ray. So yeah, that is The Lost Boys. So coming up next, we had a movie I actually picked up in my last month's video as well, and that is Titane. Now the reason why I picked it up again was because the version I picked up had no English subtitles. Picked this version up off of eBay, and yeah, still yet to watch it with subtitles, but I'm hopefully able to do that again quite soon and watch this movie with a bit of context. So yeah, that is Titane. Also from CEX, I picked up for 50p The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock. I think I just picked this up because of the price. It was 50p. I didn't have it on Blu-ray, and I just thought I'd give it a go. Not a movie I'm going to come back to very often, but I just couldn't say no to it at that price. So yeah, that is The Blind Side. Next up, I picked up one of my favourite Paul Thomas Anderson movies. It's probably joint second for me with Licorice Pizza, and that is Magnolia. Yeah, I think this movie is like Boogie Nights but without the porn. I just absolutely love all these characters in this movie. They just intertwine so well, the stories. The ending to it is absolutely crazy. When it rains, you know what. It's just absolutely brilliant. I just absolutely love it. It's superb. You're just riveted by every character in this movie, and great opening to this movie too. You're really, really underrated, and I just recommend fully checking this movie out if you've not seen it. I just think Magnolia is absolutely superb. So yeah, that is Magnolia. So coming up next, we have some fairly new releases, shall we say, from the month of February. The first one I picked up was Spencer with Kristen Stewart. If I'm honest, this movie wasn't for me. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I thought Kristen Stewart was great in it as Diana, but overall the movie, I don't know, it didn't really grab my interest, shall we say, or it couldn't keep my interest. I wasn't a big fan of it, to be honest, but I thought the performances in it were good. Next up, I got Eternals from Marvel Studios. A movie I went to see at the cinema. I don't think this is a train wreck of a movie, but I don't think it's great either. If I'm honest, I think there's far too many characters in it. I think it would have worked much better as a TV show. To me, I've always sort of made the analogy of this movie that it is very much Marvel's attempt at a Blues Brothers movie. It is very much get the band back together, which I've seen before, and it was just a bit weak, in my opinion. Just a diluted superhero movie. Your attention is divided into so many characters that it's hard to keep track. Coming out of the movie as well, I can hardly remember any of the characters' names. There's just way too much going on, and it just didn't really work for me. It's very bog standard, very average, but like I say, not awful. But yeah, just not a very exciting movie, shall we say. So yeah, that is Eternals. Next up was a movie I watched the other night, and that's King Richard with Will Smith. Really enjoyed this movie about Richard Williams, who was sort of like the father of Venus and Serena. Predicted, that they were destined for greatness in the realm of tennis, and pretty much about how correct he was. Yeah, it's just a great movie that I really enjoyed. Will Smith gives a fantastic performance in it. I love it when he does that. He's absolutely great. And this movie was no exception. So yeah, that is King Richard. And next up, I picked up House of Gucci. Now I'd heard very mixed things about this movie. Some people hated it, some people thought it was alright. I thought it was the alright camp. Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed it, if I'm honest. I thought Lady Gaga in it was fantastic, Adam Driver as well. Jared Leto in this he gave a so bad it was good performance. He's the Tommy Wiseau of this movie, and he just constantly sort of reminded me of White Goodman at the end of Dodgeball when he's all fat. He just had this really weird look to him, and I actually googled what the real version of his character looked like, and he looked nothing like this in real life, and he sort of felt like he was doing an impression of Christopher Walken in this movie. It was just really laughable and it really entertaining, but apart from that, I did actually quite enjoy the story and the characters in it, and thought it was pretty good. So yeah, that is House of Gucci. Coming up next, I picked up a movie that on first viewing I hated this movie, and I don't really like to say that a lot about movies, but I did actually really hate this movie. It got under my skin so much that I was actually I said I'm done with it, I'm never going back to it again. But I did go back to it, and on second viewing I really warmed to it. I still don't think it's perfect by any means. It really, really isn't. But yeah, I think I was in the wrong headspace. The first time I saw this movie, I couldn't relate to it at all. I couldn't relate to any of the characters in it at all. I thought they were all trash. I thought they were all horrible people. But on second viewing, I did kind of relate to some of the characters a bit more. Like I could get their motivations. But yeah, it's a comedy, and I just couldn't get the humour in it either. But some of the humour did resonate with me a bit more. And that movie is Bridesmaids. Yeah, I just thought I'd pick the Blu-ray up, see what it's like, and yeah, it's one I'm in two minds about still. You know, do I really like it? Do I hate it? But on second viewing, I did really warm to it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like on Blu-ray, giving it that third viewing. So yeah, that is Bridesmaids. So coming up next, we've got probably one of my favourite Kevin Spacey movies and Sam Jackson movies that doesn't really get talked about enough, and that is The Negotiator. Really, really awesome movie. You know, you've got Sam Jackson, who plays this negotiator, as it were, in the title, who's used to sort of trying to defuse tense situations, but when something happens to him, he becomes the person who causes the tense situation and has to be talked down by Kevin Spacey. It's just a great movie that I really, really enjoy. A lot of suspense to it. Just think it's absolutely superb. So yeah, that is The Negotiator. Next up, I picked up Home Alone 2, which I believe is actually quite a rare Blu-ray to get hold of. Saw it in CEX for a reasonable price, and I was like, you know what, I really do like the Home Alone movies, so I'll pick the second one up. I did get the first one on 4K, which I'll show later on. But yeah, I enjoy this movie so much. It's, again, like Love Actually, a Christmas staple that I go back to each year. But for me, the main star of the movie is Tim Curry. Tim Curry makes this movie. He's superb in this movie. He gives 1,000,000% in everything he does, I think. And Home Alone 2 is no exception. He's in the movie for not very long. He's in scenes here and there, but when he's on screen, can't take your eyes off him. He's just superb. So yeah, that is Home Alone 2. Coming up next, we got one of my favourite horror movies from the 80s, and that is Child's Play. I know this franchise has been a little bit inconsistent over the years, shall we say. I know, but a lot of people sort of gravitate towards the first two or first three. But yeah, I really, really enjoy the first one. I think it's got a great soundtrack, great premise, and yeah, I have a lot of fun with it for what it is. I think it's a great Tom Holland movie as well, who directed this, and another movie I picked up this month on Blu-ray. But yeah, I think it's really good and really enjoyable. So yeah, that is Child's Play. Next up, picked up another Tim Burton movie that I didn't really like on first viewing, but after watching Red Letter Media's review of this movie, I went back to it and I enjoyed it so much more on a completely different level, and that is Ed Wood, another Johnny Depp movie as well. I love this movie. I really, really do. It resonates with me so well. Another movie that is a great movie about the making of a movie, the whole Plan 9 Outer Space thing. Absolutely fantastic, and I just love it. It's really, really good. And yeah, I know a lot of people consider this to be Tim Burton's best movie, and I can completely see why now. And I just have a fantastic time with it. So yeah, that is Ed Wood. So coming up next, we have Midnight Run with Robert De Niro. I adore this movie. It's so much fun. I can't say much more than that. I really, really resonate with this movie. It's one of those classic movies you'd see on a Friday night, and it's so much fun. I can't say much more than that. It's absolutely superb. Had it on DVD for quite a while, and I was like, you know what, get that on Blu-ray. You love it. You deserve to see it in better quality. yeah, just pick it up. So I did, and that was Midnight Run. Absolutely love it. Next movie I picked up was a movie I picked up from CX's website. Now, I was a bit apprehensive about this because it was quite expensive and it was a steelbook, and I was a bit worried about how this was going to arrive. It arrived in pristine condition. It was absolutely superb. The only issue I have was the CX sticker. The issue that everyone seems to have getting things from CX. Those stickers can just ruin a beautiful Blu-ray. The packaging, it can just be absolutely tarnished by the sticker. And I got this steelbook to sort of coincide with the 4K of Dawn of the Dead. I got it last month, so I picked up on Blu-ray the steelbook of Day of the Dead from Arrow. I put the two together and they just look great together. I'm hopefully going to pick up the Criterion of Night of the Living Dead soon. I think this movie is Tom Savini's masterpiece in terms of makeup. I think it's absolutely great. I don't know if the sticker residue is coming across on the camera, but it's right about there. It's just ruined it. And yeah, I'm a bit pissed off about it, but other than that, I think it can be. I'll have a look up and see if I can remove it at some point. But overall, I enjoy this movie so much. I think it's great. It just delivers on the gore. It's absolutely fantastic. George Romero, one of his best movies that went under the radar, I think. And yeah, just have a great time with this. So yeah, that is Day of the Dead. So coming up next, we've got the other Christian Bale movie I picked up, which I absolutely love. This movie gets compared to The Matrix quite a lot. I actually prefer this movie over The Matrix, and that is Equilibrium. Great premise, great story. I just love it. I love the aesthetics to this movie as well. I love how it looks. And yeah, I just think it's superb. Great sci-fi movie, great futuristic movie, dealing with this whole oppression of feeling and appreciation for art and music and how all that's taken away. It's great and I absolutely love it. So yeah, that is Equilibrium. So coming up next, we have a great vampire movie from the 90s, From Dusk Till Dawn. Talk about a movie that takes a complete 180 turn about halfway through. It's just absolutely cracking, this movie. I just think it's great. Great performances from George Clooney. Just absolutely superb. The whole bar sequence where shit gets absolutely crazy is great and so entertaining. Salma Hayek in this movie, say no more, absolutely stunning. Yeah, this movie is just, it's great. I absolutely love it. So entertaining, so much fun. So yeah, that is From Dusk Till Dawn. Coming up next, we've got one of my sort of favourite Jim Carrey movies from the early 90s, as part of the trilogy he did in 1994. Well, I consider it an unofficial trilogy, and that is Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, just one of my favourite movies by him. Absolutely love this movie growing up as a kid. So many different versions though I've seen of this movie where things have been cut, things have been added. I just wish they'd release one official cut of this movie. But yeah, it's so much fun. The chemistry Jim Carrey has with Jeff Daniels as well is absolutely great and just so much fun. And another movie I really enjoy the soundtrack to as well. It just has me howling all the time. I love this movie. It's so much fun. One of my favourite comedies. Next I picked up another favourite John Cusack movie of mine from the mid-80s, and that is Better Off Dead. I love this movie. I just think it's so much fun. About this guy whose girlfriend dumps him for someone who's better looking and a better skier than he is, and he challenges him to ski down this hill to try and win back his girlfriend. And that's pretty much the basic premise of the movie, but it's everything else that's thrown in between that makes it so much fun and so entertaining. And if you've not seen it, don't let this slip under your radar. It's great. I love it. So yeah, that is Better Off Dead. So coming up next, I picked up possibly my favourite vampire movie of all time and its sequel. So I picked up Fright Night and Fright Night Part 2. The first movie I adore. Absolutely adore it. I grew up watching it. It was one of the first DVDs I ever got, and I just watched that movie on repeat. I just adore it so much, and I actually think the sequel's pretty decent too. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I still think it's a really, really enjoyable and entertaining watch. And yeah, I can't really say much more than that. I adore the first movie, and the sequel's pretty good. Yeah, can't really say much more than that. Just absolutely love it. One of my favourite vampire movies ever. Just adore it. So yeah, those are the first two Fright Night movies. Coming up next, I picked up a Paul Verhoeven movie that I really enjoyed growing up with, despite how violent this movie is and how batshit insane it is. And that is Starship Troopers. Yeah, just a great sci-fi action movie which, you know, delivers on the violence, and I just have so much fun with it. I just think it's absolutely superb. Great cast to it as well. So yeah, that is Starship Troopers. Coming up next, we've got one of my favourite Bruce Willis movies. Also has Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn as well. This movie came out at a time where Bruce Willis wasn't phoning it in, and he certainly wasn't phoning it in this movie. I think he is legit funny in this movie, and that is Death Becomes Her. Really underrated Robert Zemeckis movie as well. I think this sort of came out sort of right after Back to the Future trilogy had been wrapped up, and he was going into sort of Forrest Gump territory. But yeah, this movie is a lot of fun, and it's not one to turn your nose up at. I think it's great. Yeah, just hysterical, funny, over the top, all that stuff. I just love it. I think it's great. Yeah, a lot of fun with Death Becomes Her. Great cast. Next two movies I picked up in this double pack, Wayne's World 1 and 2. I love the Wayne's World movies. I actually prefer the second one, if I'm honest. I just think it is a funnier comedy. I do think the first one is the better film, but I actually watched the second one first. That's the first one I actually saw. Have a lot of nostalgia for it. Have a lot of time for these movies. Yeah, just absolutely adore them. Just think they're great. So yeah, that is Wayne's World 1 and 2. Next, again going back to the sort of newer releases from Disney, picked up Encanto. Yeah, just decided to see what this movie was like, and yeah, I absolutely enjoy it. There's a lot of people I know who've got kids who said that they have this movie in their house on repeat, like all the time. I was like, well, thank God I don't live with you. It could get very annoying very quick. But overall, yeah, it's a good solid movie that I enjoyed. Nothing special, nothing great, but nothing awful either. A lot of charm to it. Yeah, just enjoyable. Next up as well, I picked up from Sam Raimi the Evil Dead trilogy. Last month I picked up the remake, and I thought it would be quite fitting to pick up the trilogy on Blu-ray as well, to see what they look like. So yeah, have a lot of fun with these movies. I think the first one's a great horror movie. The second one is the perfect blend of horror and comedy for me. Just absolutely superb. But the third one, it takes that step into the comedy realm just a bit too far. So yeah, absolutely enjoy these movies. I think they're great. Looking forward to seeing what they look like on Blu-ray. So next up, I picked up a couple of movies off Amazon. Another Rob Reiner movie, Stephen King adaptation, and that is Misery. I fully recommend this movie if you've not seen it. I think it's great. Shows the terrifying horror of fandom sometimes. You know, being secluded. It's just absolutely terrifying. I think Kathy Bates gives a superb performance, fully deserved of the Oscar that she won. And yeah, I just have a fantastic time with Misery. I think it's great. Next up, I picked up probably one of my favourite anime movies, and that is Akira. Just absolutely stunning. That's the one word that I can use to sum this movie up. I think it looked gorgeous. It's just intriguing, riveting, breathtaking, everything you'd want it to be. It just looks great. Next up, another movie that I didn't like the first time I saw it, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. Danny Boyle's Trainspotting. Yeah, hard watch at times, but it has some humour to it as well, which I just really enjoyed. But some dark themes going on in this movie, and yeah, I think it's great. Next movie I picked up as well from Amazon was Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. I think this is a great movie. I think Hugo Weaving is absolutely superb in this. The bit that warms me the most about it, though, is the ending with his son. I won't say what happens, but it's just really heartwarming and just absolutely superb. Terence Stamp and Guy Pearce, and this is great as well. So yeah, that is Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Next up, another horror movie I picked up, another vampire movie. Probably has one of the most terrifying scenes in it I've ever seen in a movie. Salem's Lot. You know which scene I'm on about with the kid at the window? It's horrifying. It will scare you shitless. It scares me shitless every time. It's horrific. It's just absolutely horrifying. But yeah, I think this is a movie I need to go back and revisit. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but that's the one scene that sticks out to me the most. It's terrifying. Next up, again another movie I didn't really click with the first time I saw it, but did grow me on that second viewing, and that is Little Shop of Horrors. Now, I did pick this up for a decent price off Amazon, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like on Blu-ray, because I do think this is a very fun movie. Got a great cast to it as well, and I'm looking forward to checking it out, seeing what it looks like. So yeah, that is Little Shop of Horrors. Next up as well, from David Fincher, I picked up Zodiac. Yeah, a bit of a tough watch, but my word, what a superb movie. Yeah, needed to upgrade it to Blu-ray, as I think it's superb. Got a bit of a chilling ending to this as well. But yeah, I really do like it. It's fantastic. So yeah, that is Zodiac. Next up, I picked up Sexy Beast with Ray Winston and Ben Kingsley. I think Ben Kingsley is absolutely superb in this movie, robbed of an Oscar in my opinion, as Don Logan, just absolutely terrifying. And yeah, I absolutely love this movie. I think it's great, particularly for Kingsley's performance. He's absolutely superb in this, bloody flawless in my opinion. Next I picked up a movie I grew up with as a kid, from Joe Dante, and this was one of those movies that I sort of first remember being disappointed by, because I had in my head this sort of preconception of a way this movie was going to go, and it just didn't go that way at all. But yeah, that movie is Small Soldiers. I absolutely love this cover. I think this cover is great. I just have a fun time with it. It's a silly, goofy, over the top movie. I thought completely this was not going to be the movie that I expected. Thought the Gorgonites were going to be the villains, and I thought the Commando Elite were going to be the heroes, and it just did a complete 180. But it's fun and it's justified. But yeah, as I said, I adore the cover, and I think the movie is is flawed but enjoyable, to say the least. So yeah, that is Small Soldiers. Next up, I picked up an Arnie classic, as it were. Definitely another Christmas staple for me, and that is Jingle All the Way. It's not Christmas without Jingle All the Way. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but it's really, really entertaining. And yeah, I just love it. So yeah, that is Jingle All the Way. Next up, I picked up another John Cusack movie, and that is Grosse Pointe Blank. This movie's great. I love it. It's quite dark in places as well, with some of the dialogue, particularly from Dan Aykroyd. You've got Dan Aykroyd and John Cusack, who sort of play these two rival hitmen. And John Cusack's been invited back to his high school reunion. It's a lot of fun, and I just really, really dig it. So yeah, that is Grosse Pointe Blank. Next up, picked up two movies with Nicolas Cage, two classic action movies from the 90s. Another one of those with John Cusack as well. So I picked up Face Off and Con Air. So entertaining, so over the top, particularly Face Off. But yeah, my word, this one, Con Air is great for its cast of characters, but Face Off is great for its really over the top premise. They make for a great double feature, in my opinion. You know, if you just want sort of 90s action Nick Cage, these are the two to go to, in my opinion. As well as The Rock, but I don't have that one on Blu-ray yet. But yeah, these two, so fun, so entertaining. Next up, picked up a couple of movies from David Lynch as well. So the first one I picked up was Mulholland Drive. Really creepy movie this. It has one of the best jump scares I've ever seen in a movie ever. It's absolutely terrifying. There's build up to it as well, and you know it's coming, but it still gets you. But yeah, it's a weird movie I really, really enjoy. So yeah, that is Mulholland Drive. And the next one is also another weird movie I absolutely enjoy. I think Dennis Hopper's Frank Booth is absolutely terrifying in Blue Velvet, and yeah, love this movie. I think it's great cast. Probably my favourite David Lynch movie. I just love it and adore it. Just think it's fantastic. So yeah, that is Blue Velvet. Next up, with Al Pacino, I picked up Dog Day Afternoon. Really, really good Sidney Lumet movie as well. Sort of about this quick bank robbery that was supposed to take 5 minutes and end up taking up pretty much the entire day. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, this movie. I really, really enjoy it. Another Schwarzenegger movie I picked up on Blu-ray was Kindergarten Cop. Yeah, staple 90s movie for me that I really, really enjoy. But as an adult watching this movie feels like a movie of two halves. One half is the fun, family-friendly kids movie, and the other half is quite a dark, drug-fueled crime movie that the two just don't really mix. But it's just really, really entertaining at the same time. Directed, of course, by the late great Ivan Reitman. I still enjoy this movie for what it is, and I still get a kick out of it, and do have a good time with it. So yeah, that is Kindergarten Cop. And next up, picked up Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner. Probably my favourite live action interpretation of Robin Hood. Probably my favourite interpretation being the Disney animated one. But I get a lot of enjoyment out of this movie, as I do think it is flawed, but Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham, great, superb, perfect casting. Almost makes the movie. But yeah, really, really enjoy it for what it is. So next I picked up a couple of bootlegs from movies that unfortunately don't have physical releases. So the first movie I picked up was Coda on Blu-ray. Haven't actually watched this movie yet, but I do know it's up for Best Picture of the Oscars. I've heard nothing but great things about it, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. Next up I picked up was Don't Look Up. Great cast this movie, but I found the movie really underwhelming. But I still wanted to get it on Blu-ray, just see what it looks like. And yeah, kind of a little bit disappointing. Still thought the movie was okay. It should be nowhere near the nomination for Best Picture of the Year, in my opinion. It just doesn't deserve to be in that mix whatsoever. I don't know what the Academy are thinking. But yeah, that is Don't Look Up. And one of my favourite movies from last year as well, I picked up with Andrew Garfield, was Tick Tick Boom. Great true story about this, about the guy who was trying to get the musical Rent off the ground. Directed, I think, as well by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I'm actually not a big fan of as a person. I just think he's a bit of a dick. But yeah, I really did like this movie, and I did enjoy it. Thought Garfield in it was superb. So yeah, that is Tick Tick Boom, and that ends the Blu-ray pickups. So I'm gonna get into the few titles now that I got on 4K. So yeah, as I said, after picking up Home Alone 2 on 4K, I picked up the first Home Alone. Put it in briefly to see what it looks like, and it looks absolutely stunning. The old DVD I have is very grainy, very unclear in its picture, but this was a night and day comparison, and it just looks absolutely great. So yeah, that is Home Alone, Christmas classic for me, that movie. Next movie I picked up was Rambo First Blood on 4K. This is my favourite Rambo movie. I absolutely love it. 40 years old this year, and time has not dented this movie one little bit. Everything about it still holds up, and everything about it still rings relevant to today. I just think it is a fantastic film, and one of Sylvester Stallone's best. Next movie I picked up was Space Jam on 4K. Again, another movie I've not watched on 4K yet, but I did put it in to see what it looks like, and yeah, it looks stellar. Say what you will about the movie, for me this is pure nostalgia, and I really want to view the movie in the, want to sort of remember it for what it was, shall we say, and yeah, just have a good time with it. Not perfect, but great. Next I picked up Collateral on 4K. Not a movie I enjoyed the first time I saw it, but overall I do think it's pretty good now, viewing it through adult eyes, and yeah, I think it's pretty good. Also picked up V for Vendetta, again similar to Collateral. Didn't really like it that much on first viewing, but I do think this is great now, watching it through adult eyes. So yeah, that is V for Vendetta. Picked up one of my favourite Brian De Palma movies, Carlito's Way. Controversially, I do think this is better than Scarface. I do enjoy it a lot more than that movie, and on 4K it looks absolutely stellar, superb. Picked up another Paul Verhoeven movie, and that is Basic Instinct. Got it quite cheap, so I just decided I'll pick it up, as I've only had the Blu-ray, the DVD, and see what it looks like on 4K, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. And last but not least, I picked up 3 John Carpenter movies on 4K. So we got Escape from New York, The Fog, and Prince of Darkness. So yeah, some of my favourite Carpenter movies that I'm looking forward to checking out on 4K, see what they look like. So yeah, those are all my Blu-ray and 4K pickups for the month of February. So let me know your thoughts down below. Have you seen any of these movies? Are you looking forward to picking any of them up? And I'll leave the video there, and I'll say stay safe guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.